However, the District Attorney's Office has another unique and critically important purpose: safeguarding the public's trust in the democratic institutions which are the pride and glory of our country. Holding public officials accountable for their misconduct is an essential part of our mission and our duty to the people of Santa Clara County. A large campaign donation, a contested election, and CCW licenses. Our investigation began shortly after the general election in November of 2018, sparked by an inquiry from the Metro Silicon Valley Weekly about executive security licensing and an extremely large campaign donation, which was reported in public findings. Our investigation found that weeks after the scheme was hatched, the conspirators settled on a $90,000 donation in exchange for 10 to 12 carrying concealed weapons permits, known as CCW licenses. After submitting 7 CCW license applications to Sheriff's Captain James Jensen at a meeting, AS Solution Manager Martin Nielsen donated $45,000, the first half of that $90,000, to the Santa Clara County Public Safety Alliance, or PSA, an independent expenditure committee supporting Sheriff Lori Smith, who at the time was locked in a hard-fought race for re-election, both in the June 2018 primary election and the November 2018 general election. On October 4th, 2018, less than 1 month before the November election, Mr. Nielsen handed a $45,000 personal check to the PSA's Assistant Treasurer, Attorney Christopher Shum. This $45,000 campaign contribution dwarfed all other campaign contributions and represented more than half of the funds raised by the PSA before the election that year. The money was spent less than a week later to support Sheriff Smith's re-election. The second installment of $45,000 was forestalled by the DA investigation. This investigation revealed the sad reality that at the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office, there are two policies for those seeking CCW licenses. For the average member of the public, no matter how pressing or justified their need, if they follow the procedure laid out on the Sheriff's website and mail in an application, it will not be reviewed. Instead, it'll be tossed in a filing cabinet and forgotten. However, if you are, in the words of Sheriff's Captain James Jensen, a VIP, then he'll meet you at Starbucks, personally review your application, and help you fill it out. You don't even need to live in the county, which is required by law. And Captain Jensen will even waive the mandated firearms testing at a gun range. Grand jury indictment. Yesterday, the Santa Clara County Grand Jury indicted the following individuals for the following crimes. Sheriff's Captain James Jensen. 1. Conspiracy to commit bribery. 2. Bribery. 3. Conspiracy to file a false CCW application. Counts 4 through 10, falsifying public records. Maximum exposure, 11 years and 8 months in state prison. Attorney Christopher Shum, Michael Nichols, Attorney Harpal Nahal. Count 1, conspiracy to commit bribery. Count 2, bribery. Maximum exposure, 4 years in state prison. What will now happen? The transcript of the grand jury proceedings is being prepared and will be publicly available in a few weeks unless it's sealed by the court. These 4 defendants will be arraigned on August 31st at 9 a.m. in the Hall of Justice. The DA's office is continuing to investigate more crimes and more individuals related to Sheriff Smith's issuance of CCW licenses. The investigation is active and ongoing. We will follow the evidence where it leads. We are not done. As the district attorney, my concern is not whether the sheriff grants many As the district attorney, my concern is not whether the sheriff grants many or few CCW licenses, but whether they are being granted or denied for the wrong reasons. CCW licenses should not be given in exchange for campaign donations. They should not be for sale. We'll now take a few questions.
Mr. DA?
Yeah.
You say we are not done. You have a time frame? I mean, I know it'll take you where you want, but what are you looking at? I mean, how much longer is this going to go on? This has already been more than a year.
Repeat the question, sir.
I'm just going to repeat the question.
Absolutely.
So the question is how long the investigation's not done. When will it be completed? It's been going on for more than a year now. So the investigation began in December of 2018. COVID closed down our courts and our criminal grand jury beginning in March. And so that delayed us about 5 months in terms of where we would be in this investigation. In terms of the time frame, I expect more charges will be filed against more individuals in the coming weeks, as well as the coming months.
Did James Jensen act on his own, or was he being directed by Sheriff Smith in any way? How complicit was he?
So the question is, was Captain James Smith acting on his own? Was he being directed by Sheriff Smith? Is she complicit in this? Because the investigation is continuing, it's not appropriate for me to comment on other individuals and what their role or culpability may or may not be.
Are you reviewing the communications between the two, between the captain and Sheriff Smith?
So the question is, are we reviewing the communications between the captain and Sheriff Smith? What I can tell you is that up to this point, this has been a very comprehensive investigation. We've executed multiple search warrants to gather things like phone records, internet records, computer records, and we've interviewed dozens of witnesses to get at exactly the subject that your question raises. Yeah.
We did an analysis and found that if you donated to the sheriff, you were 14 times more likely to get a CCW. You saw the piece. Will you comment on that? I mean, the odds show that if you donate, you're more likely to get one. Does that play into this?
Well, I think what I would say is the question is an ABC report from, I think, NBC.
It's all good.
Forgive me. Forgive me.
CBS.
From a local TV source, said that did an analysis and found that if individuals donated to the sheriff's advisory board or made campaign donations to the sheriff, they were 14 times more likely to get CCW applications. What I can say is that our investigation found that there were really two paths to getting CCW licenses. And if you were an average person and you followed the procedures laid out on the sheriff's website and you mailed in your application, no matter how justified or appropriate it would be for you to receive a CCW license, it just got thrown in the garbage and was never looked at. But if you made a campaign donation and if Captain Jensen, knew you to be a VIP, then you got special treatment and you got a CCW license. And that's wrong. I don't have an opinion as to whether a sheriff in our county or other counties should give many CCW licenses or few CCW licenses. I don't have an opinion about that. I'm not the sheriff. But as the district attorney, I do have a very strong opinion about the basis for which CCW licenses should be given. And one of the bases for which they absolutely should not be given is in exchange for campaign donations. That's bribery. That's what we've charged in this case.